Hi guys. So today we're going to talk about fuel. We've done that before, but now we're not going to talk about injection pumps. We're going to talk about something else. We have fuel coming from our fuel tank to our injection pump and into our engine and making power. That's how it works. So we're going to talk about fuel and how to set your fuel system up, because I I think that I've scraped on the surface of this before, but apparently people need more explanations. I did a video about that. Like, more explanation triggers more questions and so on. So, fuel. Uh, yeah, that's a difficult one. If you have, it doesn't fucking matter what you have. Some cars don't have an in-tank pump, like a Mercedes with a 606 from the beginning. And some cars has, or have, or yeah, doesn't matter. So if you have an in-tank pump, it's of course super easy because you already have a pump in the tank. And if this pump is too small for the power goals you have, you just swap it for another in-tank pump. And if you have an inline pump that a lot of cars have, whatever, then you don't have a pump in your tank, but on the line. It's in line, so it's on the fuel line on the way to the engine bay. So if you have that, then it's simple. If the pump is too small for your power goal, you swap it for another inline pump. It's easy. But if you have a 6.0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, then you don't have an in-tank pump or an inline pump. You have a lift pump, a mechanical lift pump on your injection pump. A little vacuum membrane that acts on the camshaft inside the pump. So it do like this when the engine is running. And this can trigger a lot of problems because you can have some air leak in your system or other bullshit that makes the fuel go back to the tank. And that's not good, because every time you're gonna start your fucking car, it's gonna take you 5 fucking minutes to get some fuel, because the lift pump acts on the camshaft in your injection pump, and you have to crank your engine to spin your injection pump. Yeah, I know there are old cars that has this like boat bladder thing, so you can open your hood like a real man and take your shirt sleeves up and you can pump that fucker up and you can start your car. But we did that in the 50s, so we don't have to do that in 2023. Right. Today everything gonna be electric. And if you don't want to buy a Tesla, you buy electric fuel pump for your Mercedes engine. I mean, it's equally fucking green. So electric for electric. We like that, don't we? So how do we set this up and how does it work? So on a petrol car, I think most of you guys know how a petrol engine works. And I'm not talking about you guys on the other side of the pond with carburetors and stuff like that. No, us, that lives in 2023. Now, yes, fucking with you. Everybody knows how a petrol engine works. And if it's fuel injected, we have a fuel rail. Alright, so it's a rail that goes on the length of the engine. And if you have 4 cylinders, you have 4 injectors. If you have 5 cylinders, you have 5 injectors. And if you have a 6-cylinder engine like an om606, you have 6 injectors. Now, our 606 is not a petrol engine, so we have to say M104. But You know, that's how a fuel rail works. But what do we have? We have a fuel rail as well, you know? Of course we have. But it's just a little bit smaller, and it has 6 hard lines coming on out of the top, out on, in the whatever, on top of the fucking injection pump. There are 6 hard lines, one for every cylinder and one for every injector. Yes, like a fuel rail. So from now on we treat our injection pump as a fuel rail. We can put fuel in to the injection pump, and normally there is one inlet and one return. If you have a mega pump, you have 2 inlets and 1 return. If you have a normal super turbo pump, you have 1 inlet and 1 return, just like a stock one. So it doesn't matter, you know, you have 2 or 3 ports. And these ports are not designated in any way. You can use them as you wish. We normally run in front of the... So, I don't know how we're going to say this. Front side of the pump is the side that is not towards the engine. Because towards the engine is really fucking difficult to reach. So that has to be the back end, right? So the front end of the engine, in the front of the pump, there's an inlet. We use that, and then we use the inlet on the back side of the pump in the rear. The housing, not the pump. As inlets. So we normally use dual inlets, and then in the rear, in the front of the pump, we run the return line. It doesn't matter if you have 2 or 3 ports. It's just one inlet for fuel and one return. If you run electric pump, and we're not talking about electric pump like a Holly that feeds carburetors, because they have an internal bleed off valve maybe. I don't know how you say it in English, but they have a valve inside that regulates the pressure. And we have been fiddling with those quite a bit, changing spring rates and even putting the regulator fixed inside with not so good results. But it doesn't matter. We're not using that kind of pump. We're talking normal electric fuel pump, like a Bosch 044 or GST 450 or what the fuck. Aeromotive A1000 or what they call it. I don't know. A normal electric fuel pump. And most of these fuel pumps are available in both in-tank and in-line configurations. And if you don't have an in-tank pump, the in-line pump is the one you gotta go for, of course, because you don't have an in-tank pump. So we do like this. This is so fucking stupid. So I don't even want to do videos like this. Because if you don't get it, it's... yeah. Alright. Google. You have your fucking feed line from your tank and you put your inline pump on that feed line. And you put a fuel filter on that line. If you have a Bosch 044, they eat a lot of shit. So it really doesn't matter. But, I mean, they are not for free. So do your pump a service and put a rough filter before it. It can be, 100 microns. And then you have your pump and you put a 10 micron filter after the pump. This way you save your electric fuel pump, feed pump, and you save your injection pump. I mean, it's cheap dollars. This is what you do, and then you connect your feed line to your injection pump. These stock fucking filters, just trash that. I mean, there is a good one coming in the market soon, but for me personally, I don't run it because it's in the way. I don't need anything in that place in the engine, because I want to reach my pump, I want to be able to watch leaks and whatnot. So, tank, feed line, filter, pump, filter, injection pump. That's what you have. And now, when you open your bonnet, no one sees nothing of your ugly fuel system. And that is great, right? On the backside of your pump, you now put another line with a normal non-restrictive banjo. I don't know if I should write this on a note so you all get this, but if you use an electric pump, don't run your fucking restricted banjo. I mean, you don't need to be Albert fucking Einstein to understand this. So, a normal banjo. That's great. And a little bit of line to wherever you wish. And on that line you put a fuel pressure regulator. This fuel pressure regulator you don't hook any boost or vacuum up to, because you want a static pressure. Yes, you can of course have half a bar at idle and hook your boost up, and at what if you boosting 3 bars you have 3.5 bars of fuel pressure. That's not a bad thing, but it's like one thing more that can fail. And it doesn't matter if you have 3 bars at idle. So, for me personally, no vacuum, no boost, no nothing to the fuel pressure regulator. You put it on 3 bars, that is 42 psi for you guys living in carburetor country. And 3 bars of fuel pressure is everything you would ever need. You never need more, and more is not good. It doesn't hurt if your fuel pressure goes away. You know, if you look at your gauge one day and it's 4.5 bars, it doesn't hurt anything, but it will affect the pump. Higher fuel pressure means that the rack will be tougher to move. And it will calm the pump down. And that's a good thing. It's a really, really good thing. But when you come up to, people that put the restrictive banjo on and a 0.44 and you're pushing 7-8 bars in the pump, in the injection pump, then you can't move. You can't move the rack. So you push full throttle on your pedal and it won't go back. And that's a bad thing. So 3 bars of fuel pressure. You can run all the power in the world, and that is 3 gazillion horsepowers, and you have a calm, nice working pump. Squirting a little bit of fucking oil on your rack doesn't do shit for those guys that believe that. But some guys believe in the fucking tooth fairy as well. So, do we know how to set up a fuel system on your pump? Yeah, you put an electric fuel pump in, so your car automatically gets the environmental sticker, and it is to be considered as a Tesla because it's now electric and not mechanical. And you have a couple of fuel filters. You connect this to your pump. On your return line you have a fuel pressure regulator set to 3 bars, and you run that sucker back to the tank. So far so good. No, fuck. What do we do with the injector return line? We just hook it up to the return, right? No, we don't. Sorry, we can't. Because if you do that, if you hook your little tiny line from your number 1 or 6 injector wherever you have your return from your injectors. If you hook that up to a pressurized return line, you will have a little bit of across your injectors and all your engine bay will be full of diesel. That is not good. So, unfortunately, you have to use a couple of straps in Swedish straps. What the fuck do you call them? Yeah, zip ties. That's what you call them. So you have to use a couple of zip ties. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 200. I don't know. You can ask the guy that sells zip ties. And take a little bit of line and you just zip tie it along your return line back to the tank. And there you hook it up. So everything is good. No leaking diesel. 3 bar of fuel pressure. Calm, steady, good working pump that can give you all the power in the world. It will be like Apollo fucking 3, 4, 5. I don't know. The Neil Armstrong one. And all is good. So, no restrictive return banjo. Don't hook your injector return line up to your pressurized return line. Use filter before your 044. They eat a lot, but they are not for free. I think that's all. If you don't know how to set up your fuel system, just put this one back on 0 and watch it once again. And you can hear me curse like a motherfucker. That's all for today. I love you, and some of you I hate. So it's all good. Bye.